Hey everyone! Welcome to this in-depth guide where we explore one of the oldest and most respected cryptocurrencies out there, Litecoin. Whether you're a total beginner trying to understand how it all works, or someone already into crypto looking to explore Litecoin in more depth, you're in the right place. In this chapter, we're going to break down what Litecoin is, how it's different from other cryptos, and why it still matters in today's digital world. So, what exactly is Litecoin? At its core, Litecoin, LTC, is a peer-to-peer cryptocurrency, just like Bitcoin. It's a decentralized digital currency that allows people to send and receive payments without needing a middleman, no banks, no PayPal, just users, and the blockchain. It was created in 2011 by Charlie Lee, a former Google engineer who wanted to improve on what Bitcoin had started. And while Litecoin isn't as popular or valuable as Bitcoin, it has played a crucial role in shaping the crypto space. And it's often called the silver to Bitcoin's gold. Why silver? Because while Bitcoin is seen as a store of value like digital gold, Litecoin is seen as a lighter, faster, and cheaper alternative designed more for everyday payments. The purpose behind Litecoin. When Charlie Lee launched Litecoin, his main goal was pretty simple. Take what works in Bitcoin and tweak it to make it faster and more practical for day-to-day transactions. Here's what he changed. Block generation time. Bitcoin creates a new block every 10 minutes. Litecoin, just 2.5 minutes. Transaction speed. That faster block time means quicker confirmations, great for sending money. Supply limit. Bitcoin has 21 million coins. Litecoin has 84 million. Mining algorithm. Bitcoin uses SHA-256. Litecoin uses a lighter algorithm called Script, which is more memory intensive and allows more people, even hobbyists, to mine it without needing expensive ASIC machines. Why people like Litecoin? Here's why Litecoin has continued to remain relevant, even after more than a decade. Speed. Transactions are confirmed much faster than Bitcoin. Lower fees. It's usually cheaper to send Litecoin compared to Bitcoin or Ethereum. Decentralized. Just like Bitcoin, there's no central authority, no company or bank controls it. Well-established. Litecoin has been around since 2011. In the fast-changing world of crypto, that's a lifetime. Easy to use. It's listed on almost every major exchange, supported by most wallets, and relatively beginner-friendly. How does Litecoin work? Now let's get a little technical, just enough to help you understand how it actually functions behind the scenes. Litecoin runs on blockchain technology, which is a fancy term for a distributed ledger. Every time someone sends Litecoin, that transaction is recorded on a public ledger that anyone can view and nobody can tamper with. This ledger is maintained by a network of computers called nodes. These nodes verify transactions and keep the network running. Miners play a big role in this. They group transactions into blocks and solve cryptographic puzzles to add those blocks to the chain. This process is called proof of work, which ensures security and decentralization. For each block added, miners earn a reward, some newly minted Litecoin. Litecoin's philosophy. Unlike a lot of newer coins that promise smart contracts, NFTs, or DeFi, Litecoin has always been focused on one thing, being a fast, reliable way to send money. It's not trying to replace Ethereum or reinvent the blockchain, it's just trying to be better than cash. As Charlie Lee put it, Litecoin complements Bitcoin. It's not trying to compete with it. And that philosophy has helped Litecoin survive multiple market crashes, trends, and shifts in the crypto world. The history of Litecoin, how it all started. Let's rewind to 2011, just 2 years after Bitcoin launched. At this time, Bitcoin was starting to grab attention. But it had some practical limitations. The network was slow, transactions were becoming expensive, and mining was quickly becoming dominated by those who could afford expensive hardware. Enter Charlie Lee, a computer scientist and former Google engineer. He wasn't trying to become famous or create the next big financial revolution. His goal was simple: improve Bitcoin's weaknesses and make a cryptocurrency that is faster, cheaper, and more accessible to everyone. On October 7, 2011, Charlie Lee released Litecoin via an open-source project on GitHub. Just a few days later, the Litecoin network officially went live on October 13, 2011. Who is Charlie Lee? Charlie Lee is a major figure in the crypto community.
He's widely respected, not because he became a billionaire, though he did quite well, but because he's known for being straightforward, honest, and committed to Litecoin's long-term vision. A few key things about Charlie Lee. He graduated from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT, with both a bachelor's and a master's in computer science. He worked at Google, contributing to projects like Chrome OS. He later worked at Coinbase, one of the largest crypto exchanges, where he helped bring Litecoin and other cryptocurrencies into the mainstream. But the thing that made headlines was his decision to sell almost all of his Litecoin holdings in 2017. Why? Charlie said, "I sold to avoid any conflict of interest since I was being accused of tweeting about Litecoin to pump its price for personal gain." Some people criticized him, but many respected his decision because it showed he cared more about the project's future than personal profit. And guess what? He's still actively involved in Litecoin development today. The early days of Litecoin. When Litecoin launched, the crypto space was like the Wild West. Few people understood it. There were very few crypto exchanges. Mining was still something hobbyists could do on home computers. Litecoin grew slowly at first, but as Bitcoin's fees and transaction time started to climb, Litecoin gained a reputation as the faster, more accessible alternative. In fact, Litecoin became one of the earliest altcoins to be widely accepted on exchanges, and it was often used by traders to quickly move funds between platforms without paying high Bitcoin fees. By 2013, Litecoin's price had its first big surge. It climbed from just a few cents to over $40 per coin. Litecoin's big moments. Let's walk through some key moments in Litecoin's journey. 1. Launch in 2011. Litecoin started with no pre-mine, meaning Charlie Lee didn't secretly mine coins for himself before releasing it to the public. This helped people trust the project right away. 2. First price boom in 2013. Litecoin's price jumped from around 30 cents to over $40 in just a few months as more people started trading crypto. 3. Coinbase listing in 2017. When Coinbase, the biggest crypto exchange in the US, listed Litecoin, it became much easier to buy, sell, and trade. This helped Litecoin's price skyrocket to an all-time high of $375 in December 2017. 4. Charlie Lee sells his LTC in 2017. This was a controversial but honest move. It made headlines and sparked debates, but Litecoin's community mostly stuck by him. 5. Litecoin halving events. Every 4 years, Litecoin's mining rewards are cut in half. These events usually create big hype and can push prices up. Halvings happened in 2015, 2019, 2023, next one expected in 2027. 6. Mimblewimble upgrade in 2022. Litecoin added privacy features through something called Mimblewimble extension blocks, MWeb. This was a huge technical update that gave users optional transaction privacy, a rare feature in major coins. Litecoin's consistency. One thing you'll notice if you follow Litecoin's history: it doesn't chase hype. It's not trying to be an Ethereum killer. It's not about launching NFTs or jumping on every new crypto trend. Litecoin has always been about staying fast, staying cheap, staying simple, and that's actually helped it survive when other hyped coins crashed or disappeared. Why people trust Litecoin? Here's why Litecoin still has a loyal following. Battle-tested. It's been running for more than a decade with no major hacks or breakdowns. Transparent leadership. Charlie Lee is still active and respected. No rug pulls. There's no secret group pumping and dumping the coin. Widely supported. You can buy, sell, or trade Litecoin on almost every crypto exchange. How Litecoin works. The tech behind the coin. Now that you know what Litecoin is and where it came from, let's get into the mechanics of how it works. No complex jargon, just a clear breakdown of what happens behind the scenes every time you send or receive Litecoin. Blockchain basics. At its core, Litecoin runs on a blockchain, a public, decentralized digital ledger. This ledger records every single transaction ever made using Litecoin from day one. Think of it like a giant digital notebook that keeps track of who sent coins to whom. Ensures nobody can spend the same coins twice, this is called the double spend problem, is maintained by thousands of computers around the world instead of a central authority.
mining Litecoin. So how are these transactions added to the blockchain? That's where mining comes in. When people say mining, they're not talking about digging holes. In crypto, mining means confirming transactions and adding them to the blockchain in the form of blocks. To do this, miners use powerful computers to solve complex math problems. The first miner to solve it gets to add a new block to the Litecoin blockchain.
This process is called proof of work, POW, the same method used by Bitcoin. But there's a key difference. Litecoin uses script, not SHA-256. Bitcoin uses the SHA-256 algorithm, which requires a lot of raw processing power and has led to the rise of expensive ASIC miners. Litecoin, on the other hand, uses script, a more memory-intensive algorithm. Why does this matter? In the early days, it allowed regular users with standard hardware, CPUs and GPUs, to mine Litecoin. It was a deliberate move to make mining more accessible and less centralized. Today, ASICs for script do exist, but script still helps maintain a wider distribution of miners than Bitcoin. Block time and confirmations. Here's where Litecoin really stands out. Bitcoin block time, approximately 10 minutes. Litecoin block time, approximately 5 minutes. That means new blocks and confirmations happen much faster on Litecoin. Faster blocks, quicker transactions. While Bitcoin might make you wait 30-60 minutes for a full confirmation, Litecoin usually confirms in about 10-15 minutes. That's why Litecoin is often used for quick transfers and low-fee trades. How many Litecoins exist? Litecoin has a maximum supply of 84 million coins. This is 4x more than Bitcoin's 21 million, which makes sense because it also has 4x faster block times. Just like Bitcoin, Litecoin has a halving mechanism built into its code. Litecoin halving, in brief. Every 840,000 blocks, about every 4 years, the reward that miners get for adding a block gets cut in half. This slows down new coin creation, increases scarcity, can sometimes trigger price surges. So far, Litecoin has had 3 halvings. 2015, block reward dropped from 50 to 25 LTC. 2019, dropped from 25 to 12.5 LTC. 2023, dropped from 12.5 to 6.25 LTC. The next halving is expected around 2027. Security of the network. Litecoin is secured by the combined computing power of its miners. The more miners on the network, the harder it becomes for bad actors to tamper with the blockchain. Some quick facts. To hack Litecoin, someone would need to control over 51% of the entire mining power, which is practically impossible due to its scale. Every block contains a unique cryptographic hash linking it to the previous block, making the chain tamper-proof. The network has never been successfully attacked or compromised. How do you send or receive Litecoin? Let's say you want to send some Litecoin to a friend. Here's what happens. You use your wallet app to create a transaction. You type in your friend's Litecoin address and the amount you want to send. You hit send. That transaction is broadcast to the Litecoin network. Miners pick it up and include it in the next block. Once the block is added to the chain, the transaction is confirmed. Boom! Done. It usually takes just a few minutes. What are Litecoin fees like? Litecoin has very low fees compared to Bitcoin or Ethereum. In most cases, you'll pay less than a few cents per transaction, no matter how much you're sending. This makes Litecoin perfect for small payments, international transfers, moving funds between exchanges. And because Litecoin blocks are processed every 2.5 minutes, you won't be stuck waiting forever. Mimble, and privacy features. In 2022, Litecoin introduced something big,
MWeb, Mimblewimble extension blocks. This feature gives users the option to make private transactions, amount and sender hidden, use fungible coins, where all coins are treated the same, no tainted coins. It's not forced. Regular Litecoin transactions are still public, but users can choose to send coins privately using the MWeb feature. This sets Litecoin apart from Bitcoin, which has no built-in privacy features. Wrapping up this part. So to recap, Litecoin uses blockchain tech and proof of work to stay secure. It's faster and cheaper than Bitcoin for transactions. It uses the Scrypt algorithm, making mining more accessible. It has a supply limit of 84 million coins and a halving mechanism. And it recently added optional privacy features through Mimblewimble. That's a solid technical foundation, but there's still more to uncover. Cryptocurrencies can all look similar from the outside. They're digital, decentralized, and live on blockchains. But when you dig a little deeper, the differences are massive. And in Litecoin's case, it's often compared to its older sibling Bitcoin. Let's talk about what makes Litecoin different and where it fits in the ever-growing world of crypto. Litecoin versus Bitcoin. Litecoin was actually inspired by Bitcoin. It shares a lot of its core code, but was designed to be faster, lighter, and more suitable for day-to-day transactions. If Bitcoin is digital gold, Litecoin was designed to be digital silver. Now here's the difference in feel. Bitcoin is often seen as a long-term store of value. You buy it, you hold it, and maybe you forget about it. Litecoin, on the other hand, is meant to be used. It's faster, has lower fees, and is often better for simple transactions like sending money to a friend or buying a gift card. One of Litecoin's biggest advantages is speed. Bitcoin takes about 10 minutes to confirm a transaction. Litecoin? Just 2.5. That means if you're using it to pay for something, you're not standing around waiting for confirmation. It's quick, and it works. Fees are another big factor. Bitcoin's fees can shoot up during busy times, sometimes costing several dollars or more per transaction. Litecoin's fees stay extremely low, often just a few cents or less. That makes it much more practical for everyday use. And let's not forget mining. Bitcoin uses a mining algorithm called SHA-256, which is highly competitive and now dominated by industrial-scale miners using powerful ASIC machines. Litecoin uses a different algorithm called Scrypt. It was chosen specifically to make mining more accessible for regular users with simpler hardware, at least in the early days. Despite all that, Litecoin has never tried to replace Bitcoin. In fact, its creator Charlie Lee always said Litecoin was designed to complement Bitcoin, not compete with it. So when you hear people comparing them, remember it's not a battle. It's more like a partnership, with each coin playing its own role in the crypto world. Litecoin versus Ethereum. Now, let's talk Ethereum. This one's a different story because Ethereum isn't trying to be a currency in the same way. While Litecoin focuses on sending and receiving money quickly and cheaply, Ethereum is more like a global operating system for decentralized apps. So comparing Litecoin and Ethereum is kind of like comparing email and the internet. They're connected, but they're built for different things. Ethereum's big feature is smart contracts. These are self-executing agreements that live on the blockchain. They power everything from NFTs to decentralized finance to DAOs. Litecoin doesn't have smart contracts as part of its core functionality. It's simpler and more focused. Just move value from point A to point B. Ethereum used to run on proof of work like Bitcoin and Litecoin, but it recently switched to proof of stake, a different system that uses validators instead of miners. Litecoin still runs on proof of work, sticking to a more traditional and battle-tested approach. In short, Ethereum is all about flexibility and building apps. Litecoin is all about simplicity, speed, and payments. Litecoin versus Dogecoin. Now this one's fun. Dogecoin and Litecoin actually have a lot in common. Dogecoin was forked from a coin that was itself forked from Litecoin, so they share a similar structure under the hood. They both use the same mining algorithm, Scrypt, and they can actually be mined together in a process called merged mining. But here's where they're different. Dogecoin was made as a joke, literally. It was launched with a meme and a smile, and nobody expected it to become one of the most traded coins in the world. It's fun, community-driven, and weirdly powerful thanks to the internet's love for Shiba Inu dogs. Litecoin, on the other hand, was always serious. It was built with clear goals and thoughtful design. It's one of the oldest and most stable cryptocurrencies out there. No meme, no chaos, just reliable tech. Also, Dogecoin has no supply limit. Litecoin does. That gives Litecoin more of a scarcity factor, which some investors find more appealing for the long term. So while Dogecoin is the class clown that somehow became prom king, Litecoin is the quiet, hardworking student that built a solid future. Litecoin versus newer coins. Every year, new coins and tokens pop up: Solana, Cardano, Avalanche, Polkadot, and many more. These are often called altcoins, and they usually have big goals: smart contracts, scaling solutions, fast ecosystems, or energy efficiency. But here's the thing. Most of these newer coins aren't trying to do what Litecoin does. They're trying to do what Ethereum does: provide platforms for apps, games, finance, and data. Litecoin isn't in that race. That's actually part of its strength. Litecoin doesn't try to be everything. It knows what it is: a decentralized, fast, low-cost currency, and it sticks to that. In the long run, that focus might help Litecoin survive while trendier coins come and go. So, is Litecoin still relevant? Absolutely. In a world where crypto projects constantly change directions, Litecoin's consistency is refreshing. It's not trying to follow the hype. It's just doing what it was built to do: move money efficiently and securely without a bank in the middle. And as more people look for faster, cheaper ways to send value, especially across borders, Litecoin is still one of the best tools for the job. Let's talk about a word that comes up a lot in the crypto space: halving. It might sound like some sci-fi event, but in the world of Litecoin and Bitcoin too, halving is one of the most important things that keeps the system running. It's also one of the biggest drivers of long-term value. So what is halving? How does it work? And why should you care? Let's break it all down. What is Litecoin halving? In the simplest terms, halving is when the reward for mining new Litecoin gets cut in half. Right now, when miners successfully add a new block to the Litecoin blockchain, they get rewarded with a set amount of newly created Litecoin. This is how new coins enter circulation. But every few years, that reward gets sliced in half. Why? To control the supply and introduce scarcity over time. It's programmed directly into Litecoin's code. It's not a decision made by a person or a company. It's automatic, predictable, and built in. Why cut rewards? Good question. If the reward keeps getting smaller, why would miners even bother? The answer lies in scarcity economics. The less new Litecoin that enters the market, the more rare it becomes. And when something becomes more rare, especially if demand stays the same or goes up, its price often rises. Think of it like this. If you're printing fewer baseball cards each year, the older ones become more collectible. Same goes for coins like Litecoin. Halving helps limit inflation and, in theory, helps maintain or even increase the value of the coin over time. When does Litecoin halving happen? Litecoin's halving happens every 840,000 blocks, which is roughly every 4 years. Here's what's happened so far. 2011, Litecoin launched. Block reward 50 LTC, 2015, first halving. Reward cut to 25 LTC, 2019, second halving. Reward cut to 12.5 LTC, 2023, third halving. Reward now 6.25 LTC. The next halving is expected around 2027, when the reward will drop again to 3.125 LTC per block. This pattern will continue until the maximum supply of 84 million LTC is eventually mined. After that, no more new Litecoins will be created ever. What happens after a halving? So what does a halving actually do to the network? Let's talk impact. Miners earn less per block. This can be a tough adjustment, especially for smaller miners. Their earnings drop overnight, and if the price of LTC doesn't rise to compensate, some miners may leave the network, at least temporarily. Mathieu, less LTC enters circulation. With fewer new coins being created, supply slows down. If demand stays the same or increases, this often puts upward pressure on the price. Increased media attention. Every halving brings buzz. Investors, traders, and crypto fans start talking about it months in advance. Speculation increases, and price volatility often follows. Long-term scarcity. Halving keeps Litecoin deflationary, meaning the supply is always shrinking in growth. That's the opposite of fiat currencies, which get printed in unlimited amounts by governments. Price and halving. Is there a pattern? Historically, Litecoin's price has seen a rise before and after halving events, but not always in predictable ways. Here's what usually happens. In the months leading up to a halving, anticipation builds. Investors buy more, hoping the reduced supply will push prices up. Sometimes prices spike shortly before the halving, then dip right after. Over the longer term, 6-12 months later, prices often stabilize higher than before, but this depends on market conditions. It's important to know, halving doesn't guarantee a bull run. It creates the conditions for scarcity, but demand still has to be there. So while past halvings have correlated with higher prices, they're not magic buttons. Why halving matters for you. Even if you're not a miner, halving still affects you if you hold or trade Litecoin. Here's why it matters. It signals Litecoin is following its economic design just like Bitcoin. It helps maintain trust in the system because no one can change the supply schedule. It reminds everyone that Litecoin is a limited resource and scarcity can lead to value. Halving events are also great checkpoints. They show the project is still alive, running smoothly and continuing to stick to its roadmap, which in crypto is actually a pretty big deal. Wrapping up this chapter. So, to sum it all up, Litecoin halving cuts mining rewards in half every 4 years. It reduces new supply, potentially creating scarcity. It affects miners, users, investors, and the whole ecosystem. It's not hype, it's part of Litecoin's code and long-term vision. And while it's no guarantee of price increase, it's been a major factor in how Litecoin has held its value over time. It's one of the most important parts of how Litecoin and Bitcoin too are designed to work for the long haul. Up until now, we've talked about how Litecoin works, what makes it different, and the mechanics like halving and mining. But here's the big question everyone eventually asks. Okay, but can I actually use Litecoin in the real world? And the answer is yes, you can. Litecoin isn't just a digital token sitting on exchanges. It's being used not as widely as fiat currency, of course, but definitely in ways that matter. Let's break down the use cases of Litecoin, who's using it, what you can buy with it, and how it's evolving as a real payment method. 1. Everyday purchases. Litecoin's low fees and fast confirmations make it ideal for everyday transactions, the kinds of payments where Bitcoin might be too slow or expensive. You can spend Litecoin at online retailers. Many e-commerce platforms now accept Litecoin either directly or through third-party processors. Gift card sites. Services like Bitrefill let you use LTC to buy gift cards for Amazon, Netflix, Uber, Spotify, and many others. Travel websites. Platforms like Travala allow you to book flights and hotels with Litecoin. Local businesses. Some restaurants, cafes, and stores, especially in crypto-friendly cities, accept LTC directly or via QR code apps. While it's not mainstream everywhere, there's a growing list of merchants worldwide who are starting to accept Litecoin for regular purchases. 2. Business payments. More companies are starting to explore Litecoin for business-to-business payments, especially in global or cross-border contexts. Why? Because traditional international transfers can be slow, expensive, full of hidden fees. Litecoin offers fast transactions usually confirmed in under 10 minutes, near zero fees, especially compared to bank wire transfers, borderless money movement, no intermediaries needed. It's particularly attractive for freelancers, remote teams, and international contractors looking to get paid without going through bank delays. 3. Global remittances. One of Litecoin's strongest use cases is in remittances, sending money across borders. Let's say someone in the US wants to send money to family in India or the Philippines. Doing that through a bank or service like Western Union could mean long wait times, fees of 5-10% or more, currency conversion losses, but sending Litecoin is instant or near instant, cheap, often just cents in fees, not dependent on borders or banking hours. Of course, the recipient needs a wallet to receive it and possibly a way to convert it to local currency, but even that process has gotten easier thanks to global exchanges and mobile wallets. 4. Trading and arbitrage. Litecoin is also used heavily in trading. It's listed on nearly every major exchange, Binance, Coinbase, Kraken, and so on. Because of its liquidity and speed, many traders use Litecoin as a bridge currency, a fast and cheap way to move funds between exchanges. Some even use it for arbitrage, buying LTC on one exchange and selling it on another for profit, thanks to price differences. And since transaction fees are low, traders lose less money moving LTC than they would with Bitcoin or Ethereum, especially during high fee periods. 5. Litecoin ATMs. Yes,
Litecoin has ATMs just like Bitcoin.
There are thousands of crypto ATMs around the world that support Litecoin. With one of these machines, you can buy Litecoin with cash, sometimes sell it for cash, send LTC to a wallet instantly. These machines are especially common in the US, Canada, and Europe, but they're starting to appear in other parts of the world too. So if you're holding Litecoin and there's an ATM nearby, you could literally walk up and cash out in local currency. That's real-world utility. Ways 7. Donations and crowdfunding. Litecoin is also popular for donations. Non-profits, open-source projects, and independent creators accept LTC for funding. It's fast, traceable, and doesn't require third-party platforms. And in regions where financial access is limited or censored, crypto donations, including Litecoin, offer a lifeline. Some use Litecoin for crowdfunding too. Because it's permissionless and global, anyone with a wallet address can raise funds instantly from anywhere in the world. 8. Private payments with MWeb. Thanks to Litecoin's recent MWeb upgrade, that's Mimblewimble extension blocks, users now have the option to send private payments, meaning the amount and the sender aren't visible on the public blockchain. This is great for people who want to keep financial info private, businesses protecting trade secrets, anyone who values fungibility, the idea that one coin is always equal to another, with no tracking or blacklisting. It's not mandatory, you can still use public Litecoin just like before. But if you want added privacy, the option is now built in. So, is Litecoin being used? Yes, and more than people think. No, it's not the most used crypto in the world. It's not a meme. It's not on the news every day. But quietly and consistently, Litecoin is being accepted by thousands of merchants, used for remittances and payments, helping people around the world move money faster and cheaper. And that's exactly what it was built for. You've learned what Litecoin is, how it works, and where you can use it. But now comes one of the most important parts of your crypto journey. Where should I store my Litecoin? Because here's the thing, owning crypto means you become your own bank. There's no customer support to call if you lose access. That's the power and the risk of decentralization. So in this part, we'll break down what a Litecoin wallet is, the types of wallets available, how to choose the right one, the difference between hot and cold storage, and simple tips to stay secure. What is a Litecoin wallet? A wallet is basically a tool that stores your private keys, not the actual coins. Let's clear up a common misunderstanding. Your Litecoin isn't inside your wallet. The coins live on the Litecoin blockchain. Your wallet holds the private key that proves you own them and allows you to move them. There are two main components to a wallet. Your private key. Think of this like your password. It gives you full control over your Litecoin. Your public address. This is like your username or email. You can share it to receive LTC. Hot wallets. Fast but connected. Hot wallets are wallets that are connected to the internet. They're easy to use, quick to set up, and great for beginners or people making frequent transactions. They come in several forms. Mobile apps like Trust Wallet, Exodus, or Lite Wallet, official Litecoin mobile wallet. Desktop software like Electrum LTC or Atomic Wallet, web wallets. These run in your browser or are part of exchanges like Coinbase or Binance. Pros: super convenient, good for small daily amounts, easy to back up or recover. Cons: more vulnerable to hacking or phishing, not ideal for storing large amounts. Hot wallets are like keeping cash in your pocket, useful for day-to-day stuff, but you wouldn't want to carry your entire life savings in there. Cold wallets, offline and ultra-secure. Cold wallets are completely offline, making them way more secure. These are best for long-term storage or large amounts of Litecoin. There are two main types. Hardware wallets. Devices like Ledger Nano S, Ledger Nano X, or Trezor Model T. You plug them into your computer or phone when you need to send or receive LTC. Paper wallets. A physical piece of paper with your Litecoin public and private keys printed on it. Not as popular these days, but still a cheap and offline option. Pros: immune to online hacks. You control everything. Great for long-term hodling. Cons: less convenient for frequent use. If you lose your recovery of phrase or device, your coins are gone forever. Cold wallets are like a vault, a bit harder to access, but very hard to break into. Seed phrases and backups. When you create a wallet, you'll often be given a seed phrase, a list of 12 or 24 random words. This is your master backup. If you lose your phone or hardware wallet, this phrase can restore everything. But if someone else gets that phrase, they can drain your wallet. So here's what to do. Write it down on paper. Never save it on your phone or PC. Store it somewhere safe like a fireproof box or safe. Never share it with anyone, ever. This one-step storing your seed phrase securely can protect your Litecoin better than any software ever could. How to choose the right wallet for you. Ask yourself a few simple questions. Are you a beginner? Start with a trusted mobile or desktop wallet like LiteWallet or Exodus. They're easy to use and beginner-friendly. Are you investing long-term? Go for a hardware wallet like Ledger or Trezor. Think of it as a one-time investment in your financial security. Do you trade often? You might want to keep a small amount in an exchange wallet for quick access, but always move most funds to your own wallet. Do you need privacy? Look for wallets that support Litecoin's MWeb, Mimblewimble, if you want to send private transactions. Simple tips for staying secure. Whether you're storing $10 or $10,000 in Litecoin, these basic tips apply. Enable 2FA, two-factor authentication, wherever possible, especially on exchange accounts. Don't store large amounts on exchanges. They can get hacked, and you don't hold the private keys. Double-check addresses before sending Litecoin. One wrong letter and it's gone forever. Be careful with copy-paste. Malware can silently change the address you paste. Never share your seed phrase or private key. No legit service will ever ask for it. Final thought on wallets. If you take away one thing from this section, let it be this. Not your keys, not your coins. That phrase is everywhere in crypto for a reason. If your Litecoin is sitting on an exchange and that exchange shuts down or gets hacked, you might never see those coins again. But if you have your own wallet and your seed phrase is backed up securely, your Litecoin is truly yours. Litecoin price, history, and market cycles. Let's face it, when most people hear about cryptocurrency, the first thing they think is, how much is it worth? And that's fair. Price is one of the easiest ways to measure a coin's performance, especially in such a fast-moving market like crypto. So in this part, we're diving into Litecoin's price history, the highs, the lows, the bull runs, the crashes, and what it all means if you're thinking about holding or investing in LTC. The early days, pennies, and unknown potential. When Litecoin first launched in 2011, it was basically worthless. Like most new coins, it started as an experiment, and the only people mining it were hobbyists and crypto geeks who believed in the tech. In the early days, one Litecoin traded for just a few cents, sometimes under a cent. It wasn't on many exchanges, and nobody outside the crypto world had even heard of it. But it didn't stay that way for long. The 2013 bull run, Litecoin hits $50. In late 2013, the entire crypto market started heating up. Bitcoin exploded past $1,000 for the first time, and altcoins, including Litecoin, started attracting attention. Litecoin jumped from under $1 to over $50 in just a few weeks. It was the first time LTC was taken seriously as more than just a Bitcoin clone. But as with most crypto rallies, the excitement didn't last forever. The market crashed in early 2014 and Litecoin dropped back down to single digits. Some people thought it was over. Spoiler, it wasn't. The long crypto winter. From 2014 to 2016, Litecoin stayed mostly quiet. Prices hovered between $1 and $5 for years. But behind the scenes, development continued. Charlie Lee stayed active. The community held strong. Exchanges added support. And more people began seeing Litecoin as a real part of the crypto landscape, not just a passing fad. Sometimes the best projects grow the most during the quiet years. The 2017 explosion. Litecoin hits $375. In 2017, crypto went mainstream. Bitcoin surged past $19,000, and Ethereum introduced the world to smart contracts and ICOs. Litecoin, riding the wave, jumped from around $4 at the start of the year to an all-time high of $375 by December. It was wild. Everywhere you look, news, Reddit, YouTube, people were talking about Litecoin. But as always, what goes up must come down. The market corrected hard in 2018 and LTC dropped below $50 again. Still, this time it didn't die. It had proven it could survive big ups and downs. The 2019-2020 recovery. After the 2018 crash, Litecoin slowly recovered. Developers added new features like SegWit and started preparing for the second halving in mid-2019. Prices rose modestly to around $100, but the real spotlight shifted to newer coins like DeFi tokens, Ethereum updates, and meme coins. Still, Litecoin remained one of the top 10 cryptocurrencies by market cap, steady, reliable, and quietly holding ground. The 2021 rally, another boom, another cycle. The next big boom came in early 2021. Bitcoin reached new highs above $60,000 and altcoins exploded. Litecoin surged back over $400, briefly setting a new all-time high. There was excitement around its MWeb privacy upgrade, its growing use in payments, and institutional interest. But again, crypto being crypto, the cycle peaked and cooled off. By mid-2022, Litecoin had dropped below $100, and markets across the board entered a downturn. Yet again, it held on. The 2023-2024 phase, stability and upgrades. While many newer projects crashed or disappeared entirely during the 2022-2023 bear market, Litecoin actually gained ground. Its third halving in 2023 drew attention. The Mimblewimble extension block's MWeb upgrade made LTC one of the few major coins with optional privacy features, and it remained widely listed on all major exchanges. By 2024, Litecoin had built a reputation for being the survivor coin, not flashy, not trendy, but always there. Investors started viewing it as a hedge-stable, trusted crypto with a long track record and actual usage. What does the price tell us? Litecoin's price has been through explosive bull runs, brutal crashes, years of sideways movement, and multiple halvings, but through it all, it has stayed in the game. And that tells us something important. Litecoin has resilience. It doesn't rely on hype. It doesn't rely on celebrity endorsements or trends. It sticks to doing what it was built to do: fast, reliable, decentralized payments. And while its price may never 100x overnight, it also doesn't vanish when the market dips. For many, that kind of dependability is exactly what they're looking for. Should you worry about the price? Only if price is the only reason you're here. Because Litecoin, like Bitcoin, is a long-term project. It's a piece of financial infrastructure, not a lottery ticket. And while price speculation is a part of crypto, it's not the full story. Litecoin's real value comes from its network, utility, and longevity, not just what it trades for on a given day. When people talk about cryptocurrencies, they usually focus on price, tech, or utility. But one thing that often gets overlooked and is just as important is the community behind the coin. Because in crypto, there's no CEO, no customer service department, no boardroom making decisions. Instead, it's the community that keeps things alive: the developers who build, the miners who secure, the investors who believe, and the users who adopt. And in Litecoin's case, the community is one of its strongest assets. Let's dig into what makes the Litecoin community special and why it's stayed strong through every market cycle. 1. The creator, Charlie Lee. Let's start with the man behind the project, Charlie Lee. He created Litecoin in 2011 as a side project while working at Google. He didn't launch it to get rich. In fact, when the hype around Litecoin got too intense in 2017, he actually sold all of his LTC holdings to avoid any conflict of interest. That move was controversial, but it also showed something rare in crypto: a founder willing to step away from personal profit for the health of the project. Since then, Charlie has stayed active in the community. He tweets, gives interviews, and supports Litecoin's direction, but he doesn't control it. Litecoin is now a fully decentralized network. Charlie is just a part of the community, not its boss. 2. The developers. The Litecoin codebase is open source, meaning anyone in the world can view, suggest, or contribute to it. Development is led by the Litecoin core team, who maintain the protocol, test upgrades, and work on performance, privacy, and security improvements. Over the years, they've integrated SegWit, segregated witness, for more efficient transactions, activated MWeb, Mimblewimble extension blocks, for optional privacy, ensured compatibility with all major exchanges and wallets, maintained stability and uptime. Litecoin has never gone offline since launch. It's not the flashiest development team. They don't release a new white paper every few months, but they're consistent, careful, and focused on quality. 3. The miners. Miners are the backbone of Litecoin security. They validate transactions, maintain the blockchain, and earn LTC as a reward. Litecoin uses a proof-of-work system like Bitcoin, but with a different mining algorithm called Script. This makes it slightly more accessible than Bitcoin's SHA-256 algorithm, especially in the early years. Today, Litecoin mining is often done alongside Dogecoin mining thanks to something called merged mining. This lets miners secure both chains at once, earning rewards from both networks without extra power usage. That makes Litecoin an attractive option for miners: solid uptime, decent rewards, and a long track record of profitability. 4. The users and supporters. Here's where things get even more interesting. Litecoin doesn't have a meme army like Dogecoin. It doesn't have a cult-like community like some altcoins. And it doesn't ride hype waves like newer tokens. Instead, it has something even better: quiet loyalty. The Litecoin community is made up of long-time crypto believers, payment-focused users, tech enthusiasts who value speed and simplicity, people in countries with unstable financial systems who need fast, cheap transfers. These are not people who buy today and sell tomorrow. They're in it for the long haul. There's even a phrase in the community: Litecoin is the cockroach of crypto, it just won't die. And that's meant as a compliment. 5. Foundations and advocacy. The Litecoin Foundation is a non-profit organization that promotes the development and adoption of Litecoin. It's not in control of the coin, but it helps organize community efforts, fund developer work, and raise awareness. They've sponsored events, released educational materials, and even teamed up with UFC and other big brands to put Litecoin's name out there. Their goal is simple: get more people to understand and use Litecoin as a real currency. Here's 6. Online presence and culture. If you hop onto Twitter or X, Reddit, Telegram, or Discord, you'll find thousands of Litecoin fans sharing news, memes, price predictions, and tech discussions. Some of the most popular places include r Litecoin on Reddit, Litecoin Talk forums, the official Litecoin Twitter account @Litecoin, Charlie Lee's account @SatoshiLite. It's not the loudest community, but it's one of the most consistent and mature. 7. Why the community matters. Crypto, without a strong community, doesn't last. There are hundreds of projects with flashy websites and fancy features that faded into nothing because nobody stuck around to build and support or use them. Litecoin is different. It's been through bull runs and bear markets, booms and crashes, hype and hate, and the community is still here. That matters a lot. Because in the long run, it's the people who believe, build, and use the tech that keep it alive. And Litecoin's people? They're here for the mission, not just the money. All right, so by now you know what Litecoin is, how it works, and the kind of community backing it. But let's be real, a question that's always in the back of people's minds is, should I invest in Litecoin? And that's a fair question. Because no matter how good the technology is, value matters. If you're going to put money into something, you want to know it has potential and that you're not throwing cash into a black hole. In this section, we'll break down why people invest in Litecoin, what makes it potentially valuable, the risks you need to be aware of, and how to think about LTC in your overall crypto portfolio. Let's dive in. Why some people invest in Litecoin. People invest in Litecoin for different reasons, and here are some of the most common ones. It's a proven project. Litecoin has been around since 2011. That's ancient in crypto years. It has survived multiple crashes, bugs, controversies, and trends. It's never been hacked, never gone offline. That kind of reliability builds trust. It has strong fundamentals. It's fast, cheap to use, widely accepted, and based on solid tech. It's not just speculation, it works as a real currency. It's scarce. Litecoin has a fixed supply of 84 million coins. That means there's a hard limit, unlike fiat money, which can be printed endlessly. It follows Bitcoin's path with less hype. Some investors see Litecoin as a Bitcoin Lite, same principles, lower price, and still early in mainstream adoption. It's listed everywhere. Litecoin is available on nearly every exchange, in nearly every wallet, and accepted by thousands of merchants. That kind of liquidity is great for investors. It has optional privacy. With the MWeb upgrade, Litecoin now has one of the few real privacy options among top 20 coins, something more and more people are starting to value. What are the risks? Now, let's not sugarcoat it. Crypto is risky and Litecoin is no exception. Here are a few things to keep in mind. Volatility. Litecoin's price can swing wildly. It's not unusual for it to go up or down 20% in a week, sometimes even in a day. If you're not prepared for emotional roller coasters, it might not be for you. Competition. New coins pop up constantly, many with flashy features or newer tech. Litecoin can sometimes get overlooked in the hype cycle. It's not the trendiest coin. Litecoin doesn't have the viral appeal of meme coins or NFT projects. That can mean less hype-driven growth, but also fewer crazy crashes. Regulation. Governments are still figuring out how to handle crypto. While Litecoin is fairly clean from a legal standpoint, regulations can affect the entire market. Technological stagnation. Some critics say Litecoin isn't innovating fast enough. It's more about stability than cutting-edge features, which is great for reliability, but not great if you're chasing the next big breakthrough. Litecoin versus other investments. Compared to stocks, real estate, or bonds, Litecoin is high risk and high reward. But compared to other cryptos, it's low drama and time-tested. It won't give you the 100x overnight returns some meme tokens might promise, but it also won't disappear as easily. It's one of the few coins that's been through 3 halving cycles, survived multiple crypto winters, and still has active development. Some investors see Litecoin as a safety coin in the crypto world, not as conservative as Bitcoin, but way more stable than most altcoins. Should you invest? Here's the truth. Whether Litecoin is a good investment depends on your goals, risk tolerance, and beliefs. Ask yourself, do I believe in the long-term future of crypto? Am I looking for a coin with real-world utility? Do I prefer reliability over hype? Am I okay with big swings in price? Can I hold long-term without panic selling? If your answers lean toward yes, then Litecoin might be worth considering at least as part of your portfolio. But don't go all in based on hope. Do your research. Set a budget. Think long-term. And remember, in crypto, the more you understand, the better your odds. Final disclaimer. Just to be clear, this isn't financial advice. Always talk to a licensed financial advisor before making investment decisions. Crypto is risky. Only invest what you can afford to lose.